Emotionally unavailable.
Hi, welcome to Emotionally Unavailable. This is truly a show about me and my journey. When I started Emotionally Unavailable, I thought I was just learning how to be more vulnerable. But somewhere along the way, vulnerability became transformation emotional, spiritual, human. Every guest I've spoken with has been a mirror, a teacher, a reflection of something I was meant to see. These conversations aren't interviews, they're energy exchanges. I'm not here as an expert, I'm here as a student of life. And together, we're learning what it really means to open our hearts, to show up honestly, and to find connection in the spaces we once hid from. The journey back to ourselves starts here.
Emotionally unavailable.
Hi, everyone. This is so awkward. Back in the day when I recorded solo episodes, it was just like this because I was using software on my phone. I'd be like, um, I couldn't see myself. And in fact, I think what I'm going to do is lower my computer. So I'm just looking at the camera. I also hate the idea that my family can hear me doing this. I don't mind when they hear me recording with someone else, but I still get embarrassed. But that's probably because in the beginning days, my kids teased me a little bit about having a podcast. Over time, they've become supportive. Anyway, so I'm doing a polo solo episode because I want to talk about this, but also, I had so many cancellations for a couple of months that I was like just recording like a week ahead of what was releasing. And then I didn't record really anything for 2 weeks. And so at first I thought I wanted to build like a backstock of episodes a little, like at least to where like, because I recorded, today is Thursday, and I recorded, I think Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, which felt really good, like really good. It actually, those were really good days. And I want to get to that, but sorry, my dogs are barking. Um, they're right outside my window. So people still kind of ask what they can do. Here are very real things that help us. Well, I don't, it's not like I'm saying, "Will you do this for us?" It's just more like, if it makes you feel good to help us, these are the things that really help. Um, Drop off porch meals, we love. I don't have a lot of I save entertaining energy for his friends, but still, I just don't feel like entertaining people. Like, it's different if I come somewhere else and we're talking or even on the phone, but I haven't even had a lot of energy for phone calls, so Um, but we love porch drop-off meals for anyone local. And, but I've also, like, it's not a necess necessity either because, I've after the last, like, of the gift cards ran out and, whatever, I've cooked several times. I don't wanna, like, skip around a whole lot, but I will say this. The night that we found Jake, I was gonna try this new sausage ball recipe. Brian has talked about that being one of the things, like, I'm just doing normal everyday shit, and our kid's dead in his bedroom, and we don't know. And, while I was out doing Uber Eats, because I was trying to make some extra Christmas money, I had said, "Hey, I'm gonna be home at this time. Can you run to the store and get these items?" Because I really wanted to try to make these Old Bay or no, not Old Bay, those Red Lobster cheddar biscuit sausage balls. So you make sausage balls with that mix instead of, like, Bisquick or whatever. Um, and so when I got home, turned on the preheat and I started to wash my hands, and that's when I asked the family, like, "Has Jake come out of his room?" Um, and make sure. Okay, yeah, we're good. Um, so anyway, I did make those for New Year's Eve. I had gotten really, like, nauseous every time I even saw the ingredients, and it was just one of those things that I felt really afraid to do. I don't know that it registered consciously as fear, but I think I'm actually just having kind of a light bulb moment here, where all of the times that I've been like, "Well, I can't do that," or this this sensation in my tummy that's just, like, god awful when I think about doing something, like, if you heard the first episode that I did with Ashana, I was afraid to go into his room, or at least the idea of it made me feel sick. But I'm registering all of these things as fear, which leads me to the post that I made on social media about 2026 and the new year, and it just being so hard to imagine entering a new year without him. And, yeah, I think it was just fear. I think that's all it was, is I was so afraid. And the reason I'm saying that is because of how many times we stop ourselves just from feeling because we're so afraid of it. That feeling, you know? And so, um, not that there was anything wrong with me making that post, but by 1 a.m., we're laughing, we're smiling. And I said, okay, I think, guys, this is one of those things that we were just so afraid was going to be awful, but like, we're here now. It's not different yet, you know? I mean, we're going to have so many firsts and seconds and whatever that we come up against that will be hard, I know. But it wasn't the anticipation of that moment hurt much more. And I think it's because the grief was compounded by that guttural fear of pain. And I think that I have found myself in that a lot in terms of like, I remember the first couple of days I would be like eating, and when we were, well, not, we didn't eat the first couple days, but sometime in that first week, I remember uh specifically two times when I was eating because I like thought I was going to choke because of this. But it's like the only time we weren't talking and like processing and whatever is when we were putting food in our mouth. So it got quiet and my brain got a little time to do what it does. And I would start to think about like, so what in 20 years? I mean, I couldn't really even like finish the sentence necessarily, but I did I would start to like that's when this panicky feeling would take over. And I mean, it was just and so I knew right away, like, ask for help in those moments. And so like I would jump up and I'd be like, I'm feeling really panicky. And Bryson and Brian would just be right there, like reminding me take deep breaths. And I would just put my hands on my stomach so that I could connect to my body with the breath and just really deep breaths in and out. But when I say that, I had those panicky moments, it really was when I was allowing my brain to get into fear of like, A, is this pain never going to get better? And B, will it get worse? So, um, I am trying not to just completely shut down those thoughts. Um, I'm trying to hold them a little bit without letting them really impact me. I don't know if that makes sense. But at first I was like, "Oh, we don't think like that. We don't da da da." But, if you've listened to my show for any length of time, I talk about that a lot about how like, "Oh, I'm still dismissing myself a little bit." You know what? I don't even need these glasses on because I'm not looking at anything and they're foggy. Um, and so, yeah, so many times I'm quick to be like, "Oops, we don't do that." And the reason I'm trying so hard not to do that is because I can remember feeling guilt, shame, remorse after my grandma died and being like, "Oh," shutting it down immediately and being like, "Well, those are dynamics she created, blah, blah, blah," and logicking my way through it, which I don't think was necessarily all bad on its own, but I didn't know how to go, but something needs attention here, so I need to give myself some attention somewhere. And so that's what I'm trying to do now when the crazy shit kinda pops up, is just to be like, "How can I notice this and honor it in this moment, but not kinda take a bath in it?" You know? I don't know if that makes sense, but so, um, I will say when I say living minute to minute, I try very hard to not think too much about the future or the past or whatever and just be right here, right now, which is why when I don't have entertainment, because Bryce and I have spent so much time together, and Brian, and Charlie too, but, her friends have kinda wrapped their loving arms around her, and I'm allowing that because I think she gets a lot of time to process with us, and I think at 11, it's important for her to have time with the people that I don't know. I feel like it's okay to when they ask for her to go that she does. Um, but, a lot of this late night stuff is when she's asleep and we're all just I mean, those first she stayed the night with her friend the night it happened. They offered, and as much as I was scared for her to be away from me, they just lived 2 blocks over, and so I was like, "You know what? That's probably best." And so she left not too long after they took Jake out of the house. Um, and so she's had, really good, loving support around her, and that means a lot to me, but we didn't really sleep at all that night. I think I might have we stayed on the couch, and I think I might have fallen asleep somewhere around 4:30 and slept for an hour. So we were up all night just talking and processing, and I'm so grateful to that because immediately we're just communicating the shit that's coming up, all of it. But it was my first, like, real quiet moment that I was like, "Ooh, it's a little harder to turn off my brain, and I know that this hurts, but, like, I still feel like a novice in terms of experiencing feelings." And so, like, if you listen to my episode with Ashana, I did touch on that a little bit, but now I'm just, it's weird to feel without some thought around it, and so, um don't wanna dismiss anything, but I am just trying to like, if I'm really sad and hurting, connecting that to some sort of sensation in my body, breathing, really allowing for whatever comes up. Uh, but, who knows? I mean, eventually, I'd like to talk to somebody who has the same beliefs that I do, who's maybe experienced this kinda loss, like, I don't know, because. I feel like for me personally, any other type of loss that I could have experienced at this stage in my life, well, maybe not. Like, maybe not if it was like if I had lost my parents now, um, that would just be a totally different grieving experience than it was then. But like all bets are off when you lose your fucking kid, you know? So anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. But I will say that doing things that feel scary has only benefited me. So I talked about on that episode with Ashana that I was afraid to go to his room. And that night I said, I'm going to confront it now because I felt scared. Like, that's who I've always been is like, just like, if I know like it's my loved one that I feel around, like, great. But, even then, the other night, I shouldn't say this, but you know what? And I'm not going to go there because I'm going to open myself up to people telling me things that I don't want to hear. So never mind. Anyway, I can get creeped out easily, and I was a little creeped out. So I was like, you know what? I don't even want to sleep before I confront this. So we went to his room. It felt good. I love being in his room. Um, and if you saw me say this on Facebook yesterday, the couple days before that, his smell was really faint. Um, but yesterday, every time I went in, it was stronger. And this morning, it was even stronger. So I'm grateful for that because that helps me a lot. It's bizarre, maybe? I feel like it is, but uh, maybe not bizarre, but definitely not something I would have expected to need or cherish. But I love it. I love smelling him. And I love, sometimes I take the pillow that's on his bed with one of his favorite T-shirts and I just hold them because it's a really good weight and, it feels really good. And when we first got Corey, his little sloth, out of his car, we cuddled him a lot. So he doesn't have as much weight to him as the pillow does, but, whatever works. So one of the reasons that I wanna do this and probably will do more of this is because, again, if you've listened to this show at all, I've talked a lot about how I used to feel so comfortable with writing because I could be perfect with my writing. I could craft a perfectly, you know, s put together sentence, and I weaponized my communication by doing that a lot. I did want people to feel inferior or stupid if we were in some sort of tit for tat. I could end them with a sentence, and I knew exactly how, and I knew exactly how to hurt them with plausible deniability. Writing is not inherently bad, but the way I used to use writing to mask was bad or unhealthy for me. I guess we don't want to use labels like good and bad, but unhealthy for me and toxic. I was toxic, not in the way that I wrote books or whatever, but I hid behind this mask of perfection with my writing. And so over this last year specifically, I haven't felt very called to write. And um I don't love doing this because like one-on-one because well, A, I'm a rambler, but also I just feel I don't know, it just feels weird to me. I like conversation a lot, but this feels good too, kind of like just talking. Like it's weird because I'm actually like feeling the endorphins from talking. But my point is that I it's very important for me to talk because that's the true vulnerability for me. I can write you anything I want, but saying these things with my voice is really important to me. And that's the reason it was so important to me to read my own words at the funeral. I wanted to share from my heart, and I just didn't feel like it's that whole timbre thing where nobody else can replicate me, and even though I was very monotone, I think, through most of it because I was just keeping my shit together, hopefully, I conveyed that in a way that only his mommy could because, it was really important for me to do that. So, it's important for me to do this, to cry, to release in front of people because I do believe this is the medicine for somebody else. Um, like, I won't say hard to believe, but it's a weird concept for me still. But I have fully stepped in, I think, to this idea, and I have been stepping into this idea for a while, but that my voice is magical and that it does carry this timbre that heals people. And so I know someone out there will see this and will be helped. And all I've ever wanted to do is to help other people. And I want to help myself just as much. In this last couple of years, I'm very self-focused. But it is important to me to find meaning through this tragedy because, well, it is very comforting to imagine that this was all part of a design instead of just, I don't know, like we fucked up, we missed the mark. You know what I mean? And I don't believe that, but I mean, I truly do believe. I believe that we signed a contract together to do this life together in a certain way, and I believe I signed up for the struggles that I have, including the parents that I had. And it's really important to me that I continue on because I think the world needs me. I do believe that. And I think I need people too. But I really believe that like if we want the world to be like the whole idea of be the change, it's not a new concept, but this is how I can be the change is to grieve out loud because we are a very grief-phobic society. If you saw me in the episode with Dr. Heather, um, we talked about what a grief-phobic society we are, and so many things that I said those first few days, like, I felt weird saying, and I felt like people thought I was weird for saying it, and Bryson was getting annoyed because 'cause I'd be like, "Oh, weird mom thing again." But I remembered, I said, "Oh, well, that's because anything that I said as an expression of grief when my dad died, my grandma made me feel so weird about." And she would call it morbid and just, like, weird, you know? And so, um, it was awkward for me. I don't think that I have felt uncomfortable with other people expressing their pain after loss at all, but I think I've always kinda just been comfortable with loss, like, you know? And I think I would be in much worse shape if I approached this loss in the way that I did the other losses. but I've always been comfortable hearing the pain that somebody else is experiencing in their time of loss. So I don't know if I'm being very cohesive right now, but I am like, if there was ever any doubt in my mind that my particular mission, aside from, because I believe, like, as a collective, the human experience is given to us to learn to experience like unconditional love and positive regard for ourselves, no matter what, and unbridled joy. Like to tap in that, understanding you are the creator of your joy and of your reality, and that you are the co creator of your existence. But I think, like, side mission for me personally really is I go through shit, I share. I go through shit, I share. Well, there isn't a universe that I'm going to believe that tragedies happen for no fucking reason. Um, Not in the, you know, platitude way of like everything happens for a reason. It's not that I don't believe that, but I feel like no one has said this to me. So don't, I promise you, I'm not going to do anything passive aggressive. Like if somebody says something that I feel like actually needs corrected, I'm going to say that to them. So this has not been said to me. Please know that. But I can remember feeling really pissed off before, like it, grieving other things like the whole, well, everything happens for a reason. Fuck you. I can determine that for myself when I'm ready. But right now I'm going to honor where I'm at. Thanks. But thankfully, I think people know me well enough to know now. But I also do believe that. But I believe it just in such a different like level of consciousness than I believed it before. So, um, yeah. So anyway, I just believe, like, I believe Jake's purpose here was to expand people's consciousness, to make them less afraid of consciousness. And so many people are slowing down on drinking or doing less drugs or, because Jakey thought he was invincible. I mean, he really did. Like, we've made so many jokes about how, like, he just became a chemist. Because when you would say, like, that's how people die, he's like, oh, no, cause you just this, and that, he just thought he knew everything and he did it. I mean, what 18-year-old doesn't, but still, I'm a vape. But some of his friends needed to see that he was not invincible and neither are they. Um, and, I don't know why I felt like addressing this, but, I am not angry with anyone. I don't blame anyone other than Jake for this. And when I say blame, I mean I put this responsibility on him. I'm not angry at him. I'm not resentful at him. Um, I wish he was here more than anything, but I'm not mad. Um, but I mean, I'm not gonna, like, obviously, as his mom, I can logically say there are thousands of decisions that I could have made differently that possibly would have come to a different outcome. But I think those decisions were part of our growth and part of this experience that we were having. And, like, I looked at his astrology the other day when I was just having a really hard time. I looked at the astrology of around the time that I think he died, and it made me feel better because it seemed legit, like, "Oh, okay, that checks." But I don't blame myself. I can logically say I didn't make the right decision so many times, but I can forgive myself for that too because I didn't have this information. And I just, I was, I just had such a low capacity, like I was really struggling for so many years silently. Um, and I just didn't have the vocabulary to tell people what I was going through. So, yeah, I can say 1,000 things I would do differently had I gotten the chance. And sometimes my brain will kind of misfire and wonder why I can't just go back and make a different decision. That doesn't happen very much. I remember when we lost our niece Grace that I spent months there, just not understanding why I couldn't just reverse time by 3 days and help her make different decisions, and then she would just be here. I just thought, hopefully, Grace is with Jake. But anyway, yeah, I don't blame anyone. I'm not mad at anyone. I know that some of his friends are blaming some people, and I will honor their grieving process, but it is not mine, so I'm not gonna hang on to that stuff. Um, I spoke with his best friend's mom briefly this morning, and I said I was trying to remember what Jake did for New Year's last year, and I said, "I think he spent it with you all right?" And she said, "Yes," and that they went to a family friend's party, and that, of course, everyone fell in love with Jake, and that she thinks they have video, so I hope that that will, I hope I'll get to see that. I really hope that this will translate to video okay. I mean, to audio. Like, I know in video you'll have captions, but I don't know if you're gonna be able to understand me. Anyway, so those are some of the weird thoughts that kinda come up sometimes, but not very often. About 5 times I've gone to like, last night, actually, first thing this morning when I woke up, I went into Brian is, like, up usually, like, way later than us. And so, I went to make sure that he like, 'cause he'll usually if I leave, like, food out or whatever, he'll usually put it in the refrigerator, and I'd bagged up all the leftovers from last night because we just did a bunch of finger foods, including the sausage balls, which I think I like the regular Bisquick better for reference, but, um, I remember thinking something this morning like, "Good, there will be enough for Jake when he comes home," because he was gone all the time. I'm thankful for that now because if like, Bryson and Charlie have always just been more glued to me, and as Jake has gotten older, he's the shark, always moving. And so I'm glad that he had the period of moving out and that he'd only been back for a few weeks and that he was gone a lot with friends because if he was like a part of my everyday like routine, I feel like that would be so much worse. Like not that it hurts less either way, but like, then your entire routine is like fucked. So I'm glad that I was used to him like not always being here because I'm not used to him being here all the time. But oftentimes I'm like, "Oh, okay, so when Jake comes home," Bryson did that once yesterday too. And I've thought, I think twice about texting him. Um, so yeah. I think, I was gonna talk a little bit about like what the last year of our lives together look like, but I don't think I have the energy for that today. But I don't know, just to wrap up my little writing versus videography diatribe, it is important for me to speak. And to not be afraid of doing this perfectly, like, I'm not gonna edit this at all, actually. Unless the sound is just god awful, that would suck because 'cause I've been really fucking open. Um, I feel like I'm doing whatever I wanna do in the moment. If I feel like crying, I cry. If I'm smiling, it's because I wanna be. Like, that can get a little annoying, but maybe wonder why. Let me think. Probably just because maybe I feel like I'm in trouble. I also feel a little small loss of control there, I think. I don't know. But anyway, so I will keep writing because not everybody's going to watch these things, but I don't know. I think I'm going to do this semi regularly because I do think it's important. I don't want to share 3 years from now how I got through this. I want to show you in real time actively getting through this. And I want to remember too. I'm not going to remember so much of this because, I mean, already the day it happened and the night before are such a blur. So, I'm sure that's my brain protecting me from things, but it's bizarre to be in this situation. Like, I never would have imagined being so calm about the whole situation. But I think that is because, well, A, it wasn't a super big surprise to me. It's something I feared for a very long time. And I've practiced 911 calls. But also in the times that I was afraid of this happening, I just have always been very conscious of not causing, like, extra trauma by, like, freaking the fuck out, and it's not that I would be a bad person if that did happen, but, in the moment, that was important to me, and so I also knew that, like, 911 wasn't gonna be able to help me if I wasn't coherent, so I tried to be, and then I thought I would break down a lot more making, like, those notification phone calls, but honestly, I just felt so much compassion for the other people that I was calling because I knew they were getting the worst news of their life. It's, I just I hated being the person to cause that level of pain for them. So, um, I just couldn't help but be cognizant of that. Not that I think, like, when you cry uncontrollably, it's because it's not controllable. So, I mean, I did cry some, but I think it was just like this, like in and out, but crying actually feels really good. Posted some stuff on my story the other day that I had read about the chemicals that are released when you cry, and man, I'll tell you, that's what I'm kind of noticing is that, like, when I'm busy during the day doing things that make me really happy, like recording, working on my show in general, whatever. In the evening, when I don't have those distractions, my body very much says, "You have some grief that needs to be addressed. Like, we haven't addressed this all day, and that's fine, but now it's going to be addressed." And so, kinda learning to deal with that and just, like, cry it out and go spend time with him and with myself and whatever. I will say, um, enduring connections are very important, whatever that means for you. For me, it means anything I wanna do to feel connected to this boy, I'm gonna do. I'm gonna hold his stuffies. I'm gonna get him Christmas presents that we get, like, I remembered him. He used to make me take him to the store because they sold, Pokemon stuffies, and he loves stuffies so much. So I ordered a Pikachu stuffed animal, and, I just wasn't ready at Christmas to, like, skip his turn completely, and so every gift was something. I got Bryson a little mushroom pin to go on his backpack, um, just several things like that, and so we loved doing that, and yeah, I think we're doing a really good job of just facing this head on, not avoiding shit. We do get very afraid and like of pain, but we do it anyway. Feel it, we move through it. And it's weird, but even though I'm referencing the loss of a child, it never hurts as much as I'm afraid it's going to. That's weird to say, but I think just from chronic like TikTok use, I think I get really afraid of, people judging me because I don't seem torn up enough or whatever. I don't really care, but, like, I imagine getting shitty comments like that, and I don't really care enough to it's whatever. And I know I don't care about this, but, like, I've seen other people, and I always wondered how I would be, but I've seen other people, get really upset when people comment on their stuff and say, like, "I can't even imagine," or I couldn't survive this or whatever. And I think that some bereaved parents feel like what you're saying is they care less than you do. I don't feel that way at all. But I used to feel weird shit like that about my other losses. So it makes sense to me, but it doesn't bother me at all because just because I wasn't saying out loud to somebody who lost their child, I can't imagine, doesn't mean I wasn't thinking that? And you shouldn't imagine. Don't. Because then your brain thinks that you've really lost somebody and you go through the grieving process when it didn't happen. So don't sit around imagining it? Um, I did spend far too much time fearing this day. Uh, I cried yesterday because I said, maybe if I hadn't lived in so much fear, then all of that knowing that I had that day of that we found him and even the day before, I would have listened more to. And again, I just gotta chalk it up to, like, this must have just been this is what was supposed to happen because like, what am I gonna do? Sit around thinking of all the things I could have done to have a different outcome? No. It doesn't help me? So, anyway, I don't know how long we've been doing this, but I feel like, we're at a good stopping point. Let me make sure I hit all the things I wanted to talk about. So, I did talk about Christmas on my other show, but like I said, we took turns opening the gift that was for Jake's turn that we each got. Like, I got incense, which no one's allowed to light yet until, like, the last time his room smells, like him. I'm doing everything I can to preserve that smell. Um, got that pin for Bryson because Jake loved mushrooms. Got, just little things like that. I can't remember. Oh, some lighters. I can't remember what else, but, then we also went to the cemetery the day after Christmas, mostly because we wanted to go to the Quick Trip and more, because we love Quick Trip and we like their coffee, so we combined a little trip, um, and thought about decorating for New Year's. Didn't really do it because it was like, maybe eventually. Uh, Started the process of trying to schedule to get a headstone made, but, it's a weird time of year, people are off work and shit, haven't done that. I did ask Bryson to stay home for New Year's Eve because I'm always a nervous wreck when my kids are out on New Year's Eve, but I was like, "Please don't put me through the anxiety of not knowing if you're safe today. Like, next year, do what you want, but right now, please." And he was cool with that. So we just did finger foods and watched the Thunder game. So, yeah, I think mostly I'm communicating that trying to do the things that I'm afraid are gonna hurt too bad, and then when I do them, they're not so bad. I talk about them a lot. Oh, I do wanna address this. A lot of people waited to reach out to me because they're like, "I didn't know what to say, so I just didn't say anything." I am so understanding of that, so, like, it doesn't matter to me because I know that about people. I've worked in grief forever, but, some people do care, and so a simple, "I know no words help, but I love you, I'm thinking about you," is so good. Also, my sisters-in-law said, "I wanna check on you more, but in case you're having a bad day, I don't wanna bring you down." Well, it's not gonna bring me down, and I can be having a really good day and still thinking about Jake the entire time. So, like, we're never not thinking about him, at least at this point. Um, like, there's periods of, like, off and on crying all day, just a little, getting choked up and stuff, or sometimes the big ones, but even on the really good days, it's there. Today, I woke up so happy and optimistic, and I've been able to talk about him mostly without crying. I mean, I'm crying to you guys, you know, but, like, that happens a lot where we're just talking and then you break down a little bit and then you move through it. I think that's normal. But what I'm saying is, like, we never stop thinking about it, so you're not gonna make us think about it. You're just showing us that you care. So, I've heard that a lot throughout the years, like, "Well, I just, I didn't wanna bring it up if you were not thinking about it or you were having a good day or whatever." And yeah, I get why people think that. And for me, I don't care either way. I do feel good when people reach out, and I'm gonna tell you, if I'm having a good day or not. I'm just gonna tell you where I'm at right in that moment. But I do know other people do care. So please reach out to your people. When they experience a loss, please reach out to your people. Now, people who are going through the loss, please be receptive of your people even when they don't do it perfectly, okay? That's just you having this fear of vulnerability. And so, you know, people don't know what the fuck to say because there isn't anything to say. So, like, don't expect them to say something that's gonna like feel really good. Although it did make me feel really good to read my sister-in-law's comment about that S she's remembering Jake, she's talking about Jake, she's thinking about Jake, and, that she will help to keep his memory alive because that's really, really important to me. Um, so, like, it's not that I only wanna talk about Jake or whatever, but I do find it is the most therapeutic thing that I can do is to talk about what happened, what I'm going through, and so, uh, I I notice sometimes that I'm not being as emotional as I could be because Bryson will seem like he's doing okay and I don't want to quote unquote bring it down. But once I finally just started crying my ass off on New Year's, then it opened up the conversation. We could just talk openly, and then it felt so much better. So talk, 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 talk. Do not hold this shit in. People do not know, they don't have to know what to say to you for you to feel better to talk about it. And, on the flip side of that, if someone's trying to talk to you about it, they're not asking you to be their therapist or sage person and have the perfect thing to say to them. They're asking you to just have a conversation about the person that they love. And for me, talking about him normally without any awkwardness, stories, anything, and you just kind of receiving that, it doesn't hurt me if you get sad, but like awkward tension is like, what the fuck, which hasn't happened at all this time, but certainly I can remember times in the past with other losses that happened. So, none of us are going to do this perfectly. Be willing to show up imperfectly, whichever side of the coin you're on with this. And yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. And I hope this helps somebody. And I also hope that it shows you all kind of into my spirit and what I'm doing right now. So I love everyone and I appreciate you being here. I think that's it for today. So happy New Year. Let's fucking jump on this year of the horse situation. Year of the snake is a bitch. Fuck the year of the snake. I mean, I guess it's good for us or whatever, but it took a lot from me. It took a lot. So I'm ready to face 2026 and I don't know, continue creating a life I'm in love with, I guess. All right. I'll see you guys later. Hey, make sure you've given the show a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to if you haven't already. And check out my website, empoweredwithmelisahepner.org, or my link tree on Instagram at melissa.hepner to check out my latest offers or workshops. All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.